So this is a quick video to talk to you employers and hopefully give you some ideas around recruitment processes that could help you with some of the frustrations. Now, classic contingency recruitment is still what most employers in the market use. And as you know, classic contingency recruitment refers to that style of recruitment where you would have a number of agencies working on the same role description, with the thinking that by spreading the net wide and getting many people to work on the role, you would have a larger exposure to the market and a larger pool of candidates to consider for the role. However, there are some very deep flaws with classic recruitment, classic contingency recruitment in that way. So I'm going to mention 4 of those for you, and I think it would make sense to you as you hear me talk about them. The first one is when you do that, it becomes a speed and numbers game. So if you've got 5 or 10 agencies working on the same role for you, instead of them being able to take the time to properly vet the candidates and make sure that they really are the right fit, not just from the role description and essential requirements, but also from a culture fit perspective and from, if you work on developing a scorecard with your recruiter or your headhunter so that they can work backwards from that to match that candidate with what they would need to come and do in the role, which goes obviously far beyond just a job description and a list of duties. They can't do this if they are competing against 5 or 10 other agencies, because they need to be in there first to get the CV and send it over to you so that they can hopefully make the placement fee. And once I've got a few CVs through to you, they can't spend more time on recruiting for you on this role, because they need to move on to the next role, because they have got at best a 10 or a 20% chance of earning a fee on it. And so if they want to live at the end of the month, they're going to need to move on to the next role and hopefully they also be able to submit people and be successful. Number 2, they can only access the low-hanging fruit for the same reason. It needs to be candidates who either apply via job boards, who are actively in the market and who are looking for something right now and who would respond to their advertisements. They do not have the time to go and market map the entire market, go and have the in-depth discussions and make sure that they even access the passive candidates who would be open to the right new opportunity, but they would need a lot more information and a lot more work done with them to help them to understand that this would be a worthwhile change for them and will offer them the right kind of challenges and opportunity. So you're losing out on a big portion of really ideal candidates in the market because there's just no time to do that. Number 3, the assessment would be very inconsistent, because depending on the seniority of the recruiter working on the role, the quality of the work that agency does, and all those different factors that play into it, you're not going to get, if you compare 5 CVs from 5 different agencies, you can't really compare apples with apples, other than that they've got the same qualification, they've worked in the right industry, and they maybe have the same years of experience. It's not possible for you to know how one agency assessed versus the next agency assessed, whether the depth is there that you are looking for in those candidates in your role. So again, it's very shallow work. It's not the in-depth work that you need to bring in the best talent that will actually stay and achieve in the role. And then number 4 is probably one of my biggest gripes with classic contingency recruitment. And that is that candidates become commodities. They aren't treated as anyone special, and they aren't valued in the process. And they understand by the time agencies 2, 3, 4, 5 calls them about the same role, that they are just one of 20 or 25 candidates being submitted for this role. So they view your role in the same way that, well, it's just one of 10 or 15 roles that I'm applying for, and it's really nothing special. We'll just see what happens. So instead of them working in a committed process with you right through to appointment, for them it really is just, oh, well, we'll see what happens. Now, there are certainly ways in which you can avoid these traps. And one of the big things would be to work on even just exclusive contingency, where you've got one agency working on the role, which affords them the time required to be able to do a proper job for you, because they know that they will be filling this role. And so when they present CVs, they can give you all of their concerns, their if, buts, and maybes on the candidates, because they know that they are working on this exclusively. and they will make the placement. It's not in competition with 5 or 10 or 23 other agencies. Yes, 23 was my worst. 23 agencies on the same role. There's no quality there. Another option that actually works even much better than that would be engaged search, where you again partner with your chosen recruitment partner there, and they would then you would pay them kind of a deposit upfront, to put it that way, and that obviously secures their time for the role. It makes it worthwhile for them. They know they've got your commitment, you know your commitment is with them, and again they can take the time that's required to do the work that's necessary to find you the right candidates. And then of course there is the normal a retained search, which is generally in 30% chances as they progress through the process. So those last two, and even just an exclusive contingency, already gives you a much higher success rate than classic contingency recruitment. I hope these pointers made sense to you. If you want to pick my brain for a little bit more information about best practice and process around recruitment, you are welcome to send me an email or book a time with me on our website, www.stratsource.co.za, or even just reply in the comments below and give me a way that I can contact you and we can set up a time. It is no obligation. It really is just as a service to the market. If there are some things that you want to ask about and find out more about on this whole process.